What if time travel became possible? Imagine, you wake up tomorrow morning and hear breaking news on every channel. Scientists have successfully invented time travel. At first, it sounds impossible, a machine that can take people to the past and future. But what would happen next? Would humanity enter a golden age of knowledge or open the door to chaos beyond imagination? This is the question. What if time travel became possible? Hello there, my name is Character 2. But now imagine that dream becomes reality. The first people to use the technology would likely be scientists. They would travel millions of years into the past to observe dinosaurs with their own eyes. Historians could finally solve the greatest mysteries in human history. How were the pyramids really built? What happened to lost civilizations? Every unanswered question could finally receive a clear answer. Medical researchers might travel to the future to discover cures for diseases that don't yet have treatments. Humanity's knowledge could grow faster than ever before. At first, the world would celebrate, but then problems would begin. Because if people can travel through time, they can also change it. Imagine someone goes back 10 years and prevents a major disaster. It sounds heroic, but what if that small change creates unexpected consequences? Maybe people who were supposed to meet never meet. Maybe entire careers, inventions, and relationships disappear. One tiny action in the past could completely reshape the present. This concept is known as the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps its wings today, and years later, the world becomes completely different. Now imagine millions of travelers constantly altering history. Reality itself could become unstable. Governments would immediately recognize the danger. The ability to change history would become the most powerful weapon ever created. Countries might create special time agencies responsible for protecting the timeline. Instead of fighting wars in the present, nations might fight secret wars across history. Agents could travel back decades to influence elections, economies, or military decisions. A conflict would no longer be fought across land, sea, or air. It would be fought across time itself. But an even greater problem emerges. What if someone travels back in time and prevents their own birth? If they were never born, then who traveled back to make that change? This creates what scientists call the grandfather paradox. Imagine traveling to the past and preventing your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Without them meeting, your parents would never exist. And if your parents never existed, neither would you. But if you never existed, then who traveled back in time? The universe might not allow such contradictions. Some theories suggest that any attempt to change the past would automatically fail. Others suggest that changing the past creates a completely new timeline. Instead of altering your reality, you create another version of history. In that case, every decision could generate an entirely new universe. One timeline where you succeeded, another where you failed, another where humanity became extinct, another where humanity conquered the stars. Suddenly, reality becomes an endless collection of alternate worlds. And then comes the most tempting possibility of all, the future. Everyone would want to know what's coming next. People could travel hundreds or thousands of years ahead. What would they discover? Perhaps future cities floating in the sky, artificial intelligence managing entire civilizations, humans living on Mars, Jupiter's moons, or even distant star systems. Perhaps aging has been cured. Perhaps death itself has become optional. The future could reveal wonders beyond imagination, but it could also reveal terrifying truths. What if future travelers discover that humanity destroys itself? What if climate disasters, wars, or technological accidents lead to civilization's collapse? Would people return and try to prevent it? Or would the knowledge of a dark future create panic in the present? Stock markets could crash, governments could fall, entire societies might lose hope. Sometimes knowing the future may be more dangerous than not knowing it. Then there is the issue of crime. Time travel would create entirely new forms of criminal activity. Imagine someone learning tomorrow's lottery numbers or using future stock market information to become instantly rich. Others might erase evidence of crimes before they happen. Police forces would face challenges unlike anything in history. How do you catch a criminal who can disappear into another century? New laws would need to be written. New technologies would need to be developed. Human civilization would need to adapt to a world where the past and future are no longer separate places. But perhaps the greatest impact would be personal. If given the chance, many people would revisit painful moments in their lives. A lost opportunity, a failed relationship, a tragic accident, a decision they regret. The temptation to change personal history would be overwhelming. Yet every change comes with consequences. The life you know today exists because of every choice you've ever made. Change one moment, and everything else may change too. The people you love, the memories you treasure, even your own identity. In trying to create a better life, you might accidentally erase the very things that make you who you are. And that's the ultimate question. Should humanity possess this power at all? Time travel could unlock infinite knowledge. It could cure diseases, solve mysteries, and help humanity avoid disasters. But it could also create endless conflict, paradoxes, and instability. The ability to travel through time might become the greatest achievement in human history, or the mistake that unravels reality itself. Because once time travel exists, the past is no longer history, the future is no longer unknown, and every second becomes a battlefield of possibilities. So, if time travel became possible tomorrow, would you visit the past or the future? And more importantly, would you dare to change anything at all?